Good morning and welcome. This awesome day, awesome crowd. We sure thank all of you for being here. This is a great project. Look forward to telling you a little bit more about it. But first, I'd like just a brief safety message with you. We're headed into the holiday. Let me encourage you to encourage your family and friends to take it a little easier during the holiday. Try to stay within the speed limit. Certainly avoid anything that would distract you while you're driving. Let's come back next week, ready to go to work, build this great project. Thank you again for being here. Good morning, my name's Quincy Allen. I'd like to welcome you to the I-610, I-69 interchange groundbreaking. It's good to see everyone here. I do realize this is the start of a holiday week, so we appreciate everyone taking time out of their busy schedules to be here. We promise we'll keep this moving. We want to thank Texas Transportation Commission Chairman Bruce Bugg and Commissioner Ryan for attending today, along with all the former and current elected officials that are in attendance. Let's acknowledge those now. I've got a list. With the many people here, it's possible that we missed you. It's certainly not on purpose. If you let our staff know, we'll get you recognized. From U.S. Congressman Al Green's office, we have Ruben Cruz representing. We're honored to have U.S. Representative John Culberson with us today. Also, State Representative Sarah Davis from District 134. We work down this list. We have Ken Klingerman from Harris County Commissioner Jack Cagle's office. We're certainly honored to have Mayor Sylvester Turner with us today as well. Look over on the back. Also checked in, we have former Mayor Phil Nowert here from the city of Bel Air. Chairman Bruce Bugg is here, obviously. City of Houston Councilman Mike Lassiter is here. Mike, I saw you earlier. Welcome. From Senator Cornyn's office, we have Jay Guerrero. Welcome, Jay. We also have City of Houston Councilmember David Robinson here. Councilmember, welcome. All righty. Now, obviously, I may have missed one of you. Please check in one of our staff, and we'll make another run at this in a minute. All righty. Onward, upward. Today's an exciting day, a groundbreaking day. While utility relocation started in September, today marks a progression towards the next phase. Today marks the day we begin to bring relief to an interchange that has the unfortunate distinction of being the number one most congested section of roadway in Texas. This project's going to help change that. On any given day, many motorists are delayed coming through this area. The interchange is regularly stretched to capacity. Those of you who use it regularly know that from about 6:30 in the morning until 9 o'clock at night, a lot of congestion. All righty. This route is an essential route, though, for many traveling in our area, and the congestion is only expected to increase. 2 years ago, Houston and surrounding areas had a population of about 6.6 million people, up from 5.9 in 2010. That number is expected to grow to 8.3 million in the year 2020. Right around the corner, folks. We're the 6th ranked city in the nation for the highest level of congestion and congestion cost. Let me read some facts to you. Each year, congestion costs Texans $472 million extra hours of travel time, $10.1 billion in delay and fuel costs, $2.1 billion in truck and freight moving costs, and of course, the cost of lost time spent with loved ones. Beginning next summer, the interchange behind me will look very different from the one you have come to know. Construction improvements for the $259 million project will include reconstructing the 5 direct connectors from 1-lane connectors to 2-lane connectors to address the current 1-lane connectors that are currently over capacity. We're also going to work on the merging and weaving issues that are related to those connectors to make the traffic flow here through a little more smoothly. We'll also realign Post Oak Boulevard, improving vertical clearances, increasing sight distances, and improving system drainage. The utility relocation process has already begun, and we anticipate having those completed by next summer, when we will also begin Phase 1 of construction. Phase 1 of construction will include building sound walls along 610 southbound and I-69 southbound, installing high-mast lights, and reconstructing the Fortis exit ramp and more. In order to deliver this project to the public as swiftly as possible, our contractors, Williams Brothers Incorporated, will work a 7-calendar day work week. We expect to see night and weekend freeway closures as well. This project and other major projects that help relieve congestion are possible, though, because in 2015, Governor Abbott identified congestion as a significant problem that needed to be addressed. He then tasked the Texas Transportation Commission to handle this problem. Then Chairman Tryon Lewis tasked Commissioner Bugg to lead a congestion relief initiative. Additional funding was identified for the 5 metro areas, and the Texas Clear Lanes Initiative was launched. Earlier this year, Commissioner Bugg was named to be the chairman of the commission. He continues to lead the Texas Clear Lanes Initiative. Before I bring Chairman Bugg to the podium, I would like to thank him for his commitment to advancing congestion relief throughout the state, but more specifically in the 5 metro areas. Thank you, Chairman Bugg. You've been instrumental in helping us stay focused on moving critical congestion relief projects forward. As a result of your leadership, we are off to a great start. In a relatively short period of time, we've been able to advance 3 major projects in our area that were severely underfunded before the Clear Lanes Initiative began. Please join me in welcoming fellow Houstonians. Please join me in welcoming Chairman Bugg to the podium. The chairman has been an amazing advocate for congestion relief and has energized his effort with his strong leadership. Thank you.
Thank you, Quincy. Let's all have a big round of applause for Quincy Allen, our district engineer in Houston. You know, Quincy, in front of this great hometown crowd for you, I just want to thank you again for stepping up during Hurricane Harvey. I can't tell you how hard and how relentless Quincy Allen was as our district engineer in Houston in responding to all the needs that all of you responded to in Houston. And Quincy, again, we thank you for that effort and thank you for the many other efforts that you've led. Well, good morning to everyone. Boy, it's a bright sunny day in Houston. It's a great day to be celebrating a terrific project that Quincy identified, the Interstate 610 and Interstate 69 interchange process. I also want to just thank my fellow Commissioner Laura Ryan for being here today. And I want to thank you for stepping up. I asked Laura to be Vice Chair of the Congestion Relief Task Force. And you're going to hear more about what that Task Force Committee really does. But we'll talk about that in a minute. And then Congressman Culberson, I thank you for being here. I've been in your office talking about the needs of new funding for TxDOT and our future, and you've always been there. Thank you very much for your time. Mayor Turner, it's always good to see you again. Thank you for inviting me to your very wonderful city here. And then Representative Davis, we just met, and since you're representing Senator John Cornyn, let me just say thank you for being here, and please tell Senator Cornyn that we missed having him this morning. But I was sharing with Representative Davis that John Cornyn and I used to be law partners, and that since Representative Davis is an insurance defense attorney, I said, I don't know if you remember, that's how John Cornyn got his start. So you have a bright future as well. Well, it really is truly a great honor to have been appointed chairman by Governor Greg Abbott in September, and we're off to the races. Let me put it that way. And one of the things that I always like to start with is I want to thank the some 12,000 TxDOT employees that work for us statewide. Without the dedication of these men and women at TxDOT, we just could not get the job done. And they are just a terrific group. I mentioned Quincy Allen and how he stepped up during Hurricane Harvey, but so many answered the call. They came from statewide, even though their districts were not impacted. Their kind of sense of camaraderie with all their folks here in Houston and then down in the Gulf Coast. So I want to thank the men and women of TxDOT. It's very, very important. Well, as I said, it's a beautiful day to celebrate this, and I want to underscore one thing that Quincy mentioned, and that is behind us is the #1 worst choke point for the entire state of Texas. ladies and gentlemen, you're looking at it. And that's why we're here celebrating this, because part of what we did with Texas Clear Lanes was we wanted to identify the top 100 choke points around the state of Texas. We put a target on the back of I-610 and I-69. We're here today to say that we are delivering on the promise to advance congestion relief. Now, one of the things that I just kind of want to share with you are kind of a statewide perspective on where we are statewide and then where we are on transportation. First of all, you have to remember that the state of Texas is now the 10th largest economy in the entire world. The state of Texas has a larger economy than Australia, a larger economy than even Russia. And so our economic development is huge in the state of Texas, and I believe everyone here will agree that economic development and better transportation solutions go hand in hand, and that's why we're here. The other thing that I want to just kind of mention is the population, and as we know, the state demographer, about the week that Governor Abbott appointed me, originally in February of 2015 to the commission, our Texas state demographer came out and said that the population of Texas is projected to grow and double from 27 million in 2015 to 54 million by the year 2050. And just to kind of put a point on that, Quincy did talk about the projected population increases, but I worked with the state demographer on what that means for the city of Houston. And Mayor, you probably know these figures, but between 2015 and 2050, the population of Houston alone is set to more than double. It's set to grow by 115%. And that would grow the Houston population from 6.6 million that Quincy mentioned earlier to 14.2 million folks here in Houston, Texas over the next 35 years. Which is why it's so important that we're taking the steps that we're taking today. And what is the step we're taking today? Well, Governor Abbott, it really kind of goes back to the 84th legislative session when Governor Abbott called on this Texas legislature to help increase transportation funding. Now, Proposition 1 was on the ballot with Governor Abbott in November of 2014, and as we all know, it passed by 80%. That was the Texas voter mandate right there. And then through the leadership of Governor Abbott and working with members of the Texas legislature like Representative Davis, they were able to get two new funding streams. One was, it was a tough vote, but it was to end what we call diversions. There was $650 million a year of the state highway tax was being diverted to plug other budgetary holes. That got stopped. The second thing was the enabling legislation that led to Proposition 7, which went back to the voters in November of 2015. And this time, they came back with an 83% overwhelming vote. So we now have a Texas voter mandate to do exactly what Governor Abbott said in his first state of the state, and that was he would work to increase transportation funding so that TxDOT could build additional capacity without raising taxes, tolls, fees, or debt. And that's exactly, ladies and gentlemen, what we are doing. Governor Abbott then called on the Texas Transportation Commission in September of 2015, asked us to come up with a statewide strategic plan. I was asked to lead that effort. I've been proud to lead that effort. And part of that is today known as Texas Clear Lanes. And as I said, part of the components of Texas Clear Lanes, we focus on the 5 major metropolitan areas, of course, Fort Worth, Dallas, Austin, San Antonio, and obviously here in Houston. And we're focused on those communities because over 65% of the population of Texas live in those communities. And of course, about 84% of Texans live in urban areas. And so we're trying to tackle the congestion right where it starts, and that's with the project number 1 right behind me. So we will continue our effort. These are all non-tolled projects. I want to underscore that. all the projects we're doing in Texas Clear Lanes and all the projects that we have announced using these funds from Proposition 1, Proposition 7, and ending diversions are constitutionally mandated to be used for non-toll projects, and that's exactly what we're doing. So thank you for the opportunity to be here today with you in Houston. Congratulations to all of you for this wonderful and exciting project that we are about to have a groundbreaking on, and thank you again. Quincy?
Thank you, Chairman Bugg. All righty. I'd like to recognize Representative Gene Wu, who's been able to join us. Representative Wu? Okay. Thank you. Also here with us today is Barbara Kozloff, representing Judge Emmett, Harris County Judge. Thank you, Barbara, for joining us. All righty. Next, I want to bring up someone who is no stranger to us and who knows the importance of building and maintaining a strong transportation infrastructure and what it takes to get that done. He represents Texas Congressional District number 7 as well. I give you Congressman John Culberson.
Our time is one of our most precious assets, and the only way that we can ever get more time is for the government to expand our roads and highways. And I know firsthand what a superb, first-class operation TxDOT is, what superb work you, Quincy, and all the engineers who work with you do. Because I had the privilege of spearheading the I-10 expansion when I was first elected to Congress, and I can also testify to the superb work that Williams Brothers does. When Doug Pitcock and Williams Brothers puts their mind to it, and they will be working 24/7. We saw on I-10, and we'll see here with this important project, that people will be able to continue to move through here without difficulty. They kept I-10 open. The only complaint we got on I-10 was the noise in the middle of the night, Doug. That was the only complaint people had, because you worked so fast and so well. The lights and the noise in the middle of the night was the only complaint. People never complained about being slowed down by the construction. So it's a real privilege for me. I've always considered it one of the most important things the government can do is to expand our highways, improve our roads, because it's the only way that the government can give us back something that's so precious and important, and that's our time. More time with our families, more time on the job, and less time fighting this terrible traffic at this terrible intersection, which is going to be so dramatically improved by this important project. So it's a privilege for me to be here and to continue to make sure the federal money continues to flow so we can expand this intersection and continue to expand the rest of Houston's highways and roads into the future. Thank you very much for having me here today.
Thank you, Congressman Culberson. Next, I'm going to call up District 134 State Representative Sarah Davis. We also would like to thank Sarah Davis for helping us get this funding jump-started. Thank you.
Thank you, and good morning. It's such an honor to be here today. I am very proud of many things in House District 134, like the Texas Medical Center, Rice University, and all the wonderful people. But I am not proud of having the distinction of the most congested intersection in the state. So I would like to thank TxDOT and for identifying this and coming to do so much work on this. I was happy to help shepherd the legislation through that ended those diversions as chair of the Committee on Budget Transparency and Reform in 2015, and I was very excited to vote and campaign for the proposition that would bring more money to transportation, because there really is nothing less partisan than good roads, and so that's something that everyone can get behind. So I'm very happy to have played a part in that, and I also just want to say a very special thank you to Quincy Allen. I don't know how many of you know this, but when the initial plans came out, there were a number of concerns that were expressed by leaders in Bel Air, and there were a couple months there that Quincy and his team were meeting with myself and leaders from the Bel Air community literally every Friday afternoon until we were finally able to get some plans that I felt and that Bel Air thought would be really best for the community. So I have to thank Quincy. He is so dedicated in his job, and he really does take into account how these roads are going to affect and how the changes are going to affect our local communities. So Quincy and your team, thank you so much, and thank you for allowing me to be here on this wonderful morning.
Thank you, Representative Davis, for those kind words. We did form a great partnership with the city of Bel Air, thanks to the help from Representative Davis. That partnership continues today. It's good to see Pat McLaughlin here from the city of Bel Air. Welcome. All righty. Thank you again, Representative Davis. Next, we'll hear from City of Houston's own mayor, the Honorable Sylvester Turner, who has witnessed tremendous growth in our city as a native Houstonian and can attest to the needs for projects such as this. Mayor Turner.
Let me too start by thanking Quincy, and we've had a very productive, positive working relationship. Chairman Bug, I will say to you that Quincy is an asset to the Texas Department, and I know he didn't ask for all of this, but the reality is it is true. So thank you, Quincy. And then, of course, it's good to be with Congressman John Culberson. Always good to be with you, John. Good to be with you, State Representative Sarah Davis. And going back first, before becoming mayor, being in the legislature, and being supportive of Proposition 1, Proposition 7, heading as vice chair of the Appropriations Committee, worked to end those diversions, to provide additional money to Texas Department of Transportation. And now, as the mayor of the city of Houston, all of us can attest that we are a growing area. We are the largest city in the state of Texas. And it is without question, over the next 12, 15 years, more than 3 million more people will be moving into our area. And I know Councilmember Lasker, Councilmember Robinson can all attest to the importance of this particular project. What is behind us, for those who are native Houstonians and been in this city for a while, that is the choking point in the city of Houston. And during the peak hours, it will stop things in their tracks. And so it's just good to be a part of this project. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to be here, because this is major. There are 5 or 6 things that I'll highlight. Number one, when it comes to safety, this project will improve safety. When it comes to mobility, we've talked about that, it will improve mobility. When it comes to easing congestion, it will significantly reduce the choking point within the city of Houston. When it comes to detention and flooding, a part of this project includes detention ponds, which in post-Harvey era is critically important and should be underscored. And when it comes to economic development, you can't expect people to expand their businesses, move into the area, if we don't provide them with a transit system, a transportation system that works, and it addresses all of those. And then if it comes to the point where people will have to evacuate from our city at whatever point that takes place, or from the region, this will help make it much easier to do that when you don't have a choking point like at this interchange at I-610 and 610. So this is a major, major, major project. I want to underscore it. I know it's going to take about 6 years to get it done. We're going to require some patience, but I certainly want to thank the Federal Highway Administration, Congressman Culberson. I want to thank Texas Department of Transportation, Chairman Bug. Certainly want to thank members of the legislature. Williams Brothers, I have no question they will get it done before 6 years. I just not putting any pressure on them, but Doug has done it before, and Doug will do it again. But this is a great day for the city of Houston as we continue to grow. Please let people know throughout the state and throughout the country that the city of Houston is open for business. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Next, we'll hear from our business and industry support groups. These 2 organizations have been strong advocates for transportation and understanding that improving transportation infrastructure and economic growth sustainability go hand in hand. I'd like to ask Transportation Advocacy Group Executive Director Andrea French to come up to the podium for some remarks. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. So it's always a challenge to follow the mayor. I don't know, but or an honor. So Andrea French, Executive Director of TAG Houston Region, and I'm just so honored to be here today. I think I certainly don't need to repeat a lot of what's already been said today. The one thing I want to acknowledge is that we have leaders from all the different levels of government here today. So local, state, and federal. And I think that is really what TAG is about. We're about convening and bringing one voice together for the Houston region. And days like today really, really exemplify the work that over 130 of our member organizations work with on a daily basis with TAG to take us to the next level, to take this region to the next level. And we're just so pleased to work with TxDOT and to get to work with all of these amazing leaders. And we will continue to advocate for additional funding for the region to help promote projects like this. And again, we're really honored, and I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to John Breeden. Do you want to jump in? I took your...
Thank you, Andrea. As Andrea said, we're going to call on John Breeden in just a second, but I'd like to thank Andrea, let her know how much we appreciate TAG's continuing efforts to educate, communicate, and advocate for funding that will address our state and region's transportation challenges. Another group that's been just as instrumental is Uptown Houston. I'd like to ask President of Uptown Houston, John Breeden, to come to the podium. John?
It really is an honor to be here today, not only with Congressman Culberson, Representative Davis, the mayor, the chairman, and also city council members of Houston, Pat and Roman, with Bel Air as well. I want to pause just a moment, get everybody to take a deep breath. Isn't this great that we call this winter? And so we didn't have to chip the ice off anything this morning to do this. Secondly, I want you to pause again. I want you to listen. What do you hear? What you hear is the very economy of Houston at work. And from here, I can look out over residential areas. I can look out over that beautiful uptown skyline. I can hear trucks passing by. I can hear transit moving. Transportation is a foundation for our city and for our state. And this calls to the importance of this individual project. I have to stop now, like everyone else, but it is the truth, Mayor, isn't it? That Quincy deserves a thank you, but here's where I want to thank him and his team. They can develop solutions, designs to move traffic. But what they're willing to do, and as others have mentioned this morning, is sit down with the business community, the residential community, with Bel Air, the city of Houston, and others, to try to come up with a solution that not only moves people, but provides access, and I think just as important, can be constructed in such a way that we can continue our lives, that businesses can continue to thrive. And that's really a great achievement of what this plan is and what it's going to be over the next 6 years. I think the baton's been passed to you, and it'll be up to Williams Brothers to make that happen, but we know it will. Also, the state of Texas Department of Transportation is known as perhaps the world leader in developing effective transportation network, particularly in our freeway system across our state and within our major cities. But one thing that TxDOT has done that I think they deserve even more credit for is the leadership that they have provided in being great partners. And Quincy and Chairman Bug, I think we all recognize that none of this can be done by one agency. And we all have to work together, both business community, the political community, work together to come up with plans to keep our cities and our state moving. And so I thank them. And in fact, one of the things TxDOT has done has been highly effective in our multimodal comprehensive transportation plan for the Houston area, which includes transit. Where we're standing here today, on top of the high occupancy vehicle lane, there will be a ramp just to our south here tying into a transit center that will tie into Coastal Boulevard's new bus rapid transit improvements. So they have been a part of all of that. I thank the chairman, I thank the legislature, and I thank Quincy and his staff. Thank you so much.
All righty, thank you, Mr. Breeden. Let's give another round of applause for our speakers. This is just the beginning of our focused and strategic effort to address congestion in the state's most congested areas. We will continue to develop and construct projects that will address transportation needs of this area. Great projects don't happen without great partnerships. And I'd just like to thank everyone that's got us to this point so far. I look forward to continued success, obviously with our building contractor, Williams Brothers. It's an honor to be able to build another project with you, Mr. Picknock, and your company. We've had some extraordinary work from many designers and design consultants on this project. I'd like to recognize the lead, AIA, and especially for the work they did in the last 3 months, making some last-minute improvements and changes to the project. Also today, I'd like to recognize our West Harris area engineer, Frank Leon. Frank's going to lead this project for TxDOT. Frank. His lead inspector will be Paul Ely. Paul's built a lot of work for us. He's in the back there. Obviously, anytime you go downtown or to a big project, it's fortunate if you have Paul on the job. I'd also like to thank Metro for being a good partner for helping facilitate the use of the HOV lane for today's event. I'd like to thank our city and transportation industry partners as well. I'd also like to thank, again, our elected officials for making time for this event today and also having a hand in the design and project development to get us here. All right, I'd like to turn this over to Raquel, and let's go to the next part of our event. Thank you again for coming out.
Okay, if I can get you to just lift them up a little, don't turn dirt yet. We want to get a picture of the shovels with the clear lane sticker on the bottom. Okay.
With or without dirt?
Y'all get those?
No dirt.
Okay, now, I want you to put it in the dirt. On the count of 3, I want you to lift up and turn and just keep turning. Okay, that's for the picture. It's for the live part of this. 1, 2, 3, turn. Woo! Can I get a hand clap for the dirt turning?
Right, outstanding.
Okay, you're good. Thank you all for coming out and joining us to celebrate this. We believe it is a huge success and milestone for us to get to this, and we'll look for you to join us when we cut the ribbon.